What's up, you movie freaks from a galaxy far, far away, long, long ago? I fucked it up. It's okay. We'll keep rolling.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far
That's
away.
right. What he said. I'm Dan. They are Sean and Mario. We're you meatheads. Thanks for joining us on Hero Lair. There's going to be the spoiler review for Rogue One. Full spoilers right off the bat. We're going to talk about spoilers like how everybody fucking dies.
Yeah.
Everybody on the poster.
Yeah.
I meant it when I said spoiler review.
Exactly. We don't screw around here, folks.
Yeah. The warning was everywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't need to wait 10 minutes to tell you.
But you kind of knew.
Yeah.
You kind of knew watching the trailer.
true,
Like, not a lot of motherfuckers.
Yeah.
She even told you in A New Hope, like, many people have died. Get this information.
Isn't that actually from Return of the Jedi? That many Belfins died to bring us this information.
No, that was the
That's
but
Jedi.
that's for the second. That's
Did
for the
she say-
second though. That's
Did
the,
she say something like that in A New Hope?
I think there's something along those lines.
Yeah.
But
Anyway,
there is a sequel
I'm sure
to Rogue
somebody's gonna quote unquote it.
There is a sequel to Rogue One.
Yeah, exactly.
other than A New Hope.
Yeah, between
and,
Empire and Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, the Belfins pretty much, did the same shit. Which, who knows if they do a spin-off of that.
Yeah, I know.
We'll get into all this.
All right.
Okay, general topic. Go see this movie if you haven't already. And why are you watching this if you haven't seen it? Such a good time in theater, well worth spent. Adds so much to... And this was supposed to be a spin-off, like a story onto its own. Mm-hmm. Right? It kind of is, but not really.
It's like a prologue.
It ties in
Yeah.
so well. I had a great time. So, you guys' general thoughts right off the bat.
Mario.
Yeah, I loved it. It was back to Star Wars. As soon as we walked into the theater, Dan and I saw it together, and it was just like, bam, Star Wars all over again. It was the prequels that I wanted.
Right.
That's the main thing, like, it was a story before the original trilogy that I wanted. It had the right tone. It had, like, even though it was a little more adult in nature, especially in the aspect of the war and how the fighting, and it was very adult in that. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, it wasn't bloody or anything of that nature, but it was definitely, you felt like you were in a war film. Mm-hmm. So that was great, how you can see the stormtroopers at their best. We'll get into Vader later, but oh my god, Vader. Oh my god. I wish we had more of them, but that little tidbit was so good. And we're going to get into more and more, so I'll let Sean talk before I go into it.
Absolutely loved it. It was, I think it's going to be like top 3, if not number 1, because I used to consider Empire Strikes Back number 1.
Yeah.
Like, it blew it out of the water. I mean, the fact that all these other movies have these beats that they follow.
Right.
And this was just like, no, we're not going to go by those beats. It was like almost like a Suicide Squad for Star Wars. And it's like, not a lot of people were going to make it. There were no-name characters that you didn't really know about and you're just getting to know now. And you felt for them. You really felt for them, and you can feel that relationship that some of them had, and the relationships that were growing, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that really says it all. Like when they mean standalone, it really connects. But how it stands alone to me is not necessarily that it doesn't impact the sagas, because it absolutely does impact the sagas. But like you said, they don't follow the beats. We saw areas of gray with the rebels.
Yes.
Rebels having to do dirty shit.
Yeah.
Like real rebels would. They're not squeaky clean, goody two shoes. Like what's his name, Captain Caspian?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He's got this spy that he's talking to, and the spy's gonna give everything away because he's shaky. You can't trust him, so that's to shoot him. It's too much of a risk to keep this guy alive. Right?
But there's that, and also the aspect of how they break off into it's not just one all-encompassing rebels. Like, there's actual sanctions.
That was cool too.
You know what I mean? And there's extremists.
Yeah, Saw Gerrera's extremists.
You know what I mean? Like, that is absolutely brilliant. The fact that they had, like, in war, there's always, especially in guerrilla warfare, which a lot of this was at the beginning kind of guerrilla in its stance, and as the rebellion grew into this, that there are going to be people who aren't going to feel exactly alike, and there wasn't one head of the rebellion. There was obviously like sanctions.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well written, really well done.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that was such a new characteristic. What I also love too was just how they've corrected what always seemed like kind of a bullshit plot device of the exhaust port being able to shoot the exhaust port, whatever. Yeah. They tied it all together perfectly.
Exactly.
Right? Where Galen Erso being like Robert Oppenheimer, being like, look, this thing's going to be made with or without me. I might as well make it and put a flaw in it. Right? Put a fuse that's just waiting to be lit.
Well, exactly. It just that's the
perfect storytelling.
That's a perfect spy infiltrator.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody who, you know, he resigns himself. Okay, you know what? You just killed my wife. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go with you guys and build what you want me to build after you just killed my wife.
Yeah.
I won't do anything wrong to you. You know what I mean? Like, you know what? In the end, he got the biggest fuck you. You know what I mean? Like that was
that was
very well done.
Yeah, very original. And just the stakes, like you just felt how many people were being sacrificed, and every death you could feel it, especially the street warfare and all the people of Jeddah. Like Jeddah is, I think, what Mos Eisley was kind of supposed to be. Multiple cultures living there for a long time. Obviously, Mos Eisley people are just impassive because it's a spaceport. Yeah. But just the congestion, the crazy
in certain areas,
definitely
in certain areas.
Even you see two characters from the cantina.
Yeah, you do.
That my friend doesn't like you.
Cool.
I don't like you.
Did that stuff throw you off? What other Easter eggs did you see, and did they throw you off?
I saw.
What do you remember?
Okay, so I forget some of the names of Rebels, but Chopper, one of the droids, was on Yavin 4 in the base, right? And he's walking by, and there's in Rebels there's Twi'lek, green Twi'lek, and she's like basically the captain of the Ghost. You actually see the Ghost, in the port, right, in the base, but they go General blah blah blah. So she got promoted from this time, so it's like they tie in Rebels, they tie in the original
Clone Wars too with Saw Gerrera.
Well, and what's his name? The guy who was in Sons of Anarchy and who also played Bail Organa was from the prequels. They even tied him in from the prequels, and that was really well done.
Which was smart too, because there's the deleted scene from probably either Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones, where that same actress that plays Mon Mothma has a scene with him, and that's kind of the beginnings of the rebellion.
Even Vader's castle was in
Mustafar.
Yeah,
so and that was the only planet that they didn't have the little iMovie font. Of where it was. So I think they did that because if it said Mustafar, you'd be like, oh, it's gonna be Vader. Even though you kind of knew, right?
Yeah,
you knew that was Vader's. Yeah.
But well, they went with the visual iconograph instead of having that plot device right in front of you,
which is cool. I mean, because that planet was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that wasn't cool from that whole thing was no.
But you know what? The really cool thing from like a philosophical perspective was that Vader chose the place where he lost everything, where he lost his wife, where he lost his best friend, and he lost his limbs to create his home.
Yeah.
But
you know what I mean?
But that's the birthplace of Vader.
That's the birthplace of Vader.
But isn't that kind of like he chose the place where Anakin dies and Vader's born? You know, it's just so it's almost twisted in a way. You know, it's very masochistic on him. You know what I mean? Where he's always looking at the pit that actually took his body away.
Yeah.
So it was very well done.
But maybe that's where he's most strongest too. in the dark side.
Of course,
everything just
because that's where his hate grows. You know what I mean? You're literally stewing in your hatred, and you're stewing in your anger at all times.
And it feeds him and makes him more powerful. And stuff. Yeah, that was a nice touch. And that castle was sick.
Sick.
Well, where does that pull from? Vader's palace. Is that from like an extended universe?
Yeah, it is. I've been looking into, but it wasn't supposed to be on Mustafar. It definitely was like again. I'm sure that one of our fans will bring it up exactly where, but it was supposed to be on a different planet. But they transplanted it into this in this universe. But they kept the castle relatively similar.
Yeah, really cool.
And it wasn't like I remember going to Vader's castle in like a video game.
Yeah, there's another
Jedi Academy.
Oh really?
Yeah, Star Wars Jedi Academy.
Not the Force Unleashed?
No, it was Jedi Academy.
Okay, yeah, cool. What did you guys think of Krennic, the main villain of this? Ben Mendelsohn played him. Ben Mendelsohn plays.
Yeah,
if you don't watch Bloodline, watch Bloodline.
Great TV show.
If you want to see more good stuff with Ben Mendelsohn, watch Mississippi Grind.
Yeah,
it's a gambling movie. I know some of you guys are young, probably, but you know, it's still a good quality movie.
Yeah,
he just plays a dirtbag so well, and of course he's in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
But he's definitely not as menacing in Dark Knight Rises.
No, but he's the...
Do you feel in charge?
Yeah, he's the guy who infiltrates Wayne Enterprises.
Oh, okay.
For the other...
yeah. He definitely has really good presence. I liked it because he was... he wasn't like all the other stoic... Imperial officers that we'd seen before.
Good point.
Right? He was very erratic, very reactionary, really whiny, stuff that you would never see Tarkin do. And it was just really cool to see how he was really just this, I wouldn't say groveling, but he's just one of these corporate...
It was like a corporate,
right?
Yeah, it was like a corporate series.
Yeah, it totally was.
Like Billions or something, and everybody's trying to fuck each other over, and it's like, I got Vader's favor.
Yeah. And did you notice how they kind of really emphasized his stature being short, like almost a Napoleon complex?
Yeah,
like he was
over Tarkin.
Over anybody. Like they really emphasized on his stature, I thought, anyways, in the film where... They always showed, like, you never see him as being, like, the taller one in a conversation. You never see him with, like, a short droid or anything like that. He's always with somebody who's always kind of looking up, and he's like...
Yeah, I remember.
You know what I mean? Even though he's angry and he's trying to be authoritarian, he's always looking up.
Right. It's like, even when you see Tarkin... Is it Tarkin? Tarkin for the first time. He turns around... And he starts walking around him.
Yes.
And looking down.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a subtle thing I didn't notice at first, but yeah, there's the camera's always pointing down on him.
Yeah. Oh, at all times, and he's always like looking up angrily.
Yeah. And all he wants to do is climb that Imperial corporate ladder.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, he builds this great thing that he thinks is going to be his superstardom, and then Tarkin takes it.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll be managing it now.
And if you really think about it, it's like he must have known that his former partner was gonna screw him over, because it's like you shot his wife.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's like you didn't know. It's like he looked totally past you. He's like, I have him in control because I want this station. Yeah. This is gonna be my legacy. And then Tarkin just I'll be taken.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Which is such a corporate thing to do. Yeah. It's such a corporate thing, and going back to with his partner is that it's like you're so blinded by like ambition that he doesn't see like the forest for the trees, right? Like he doesn't see the fact that he's being screwed. And then, like, of course, like, Tarkin takes it from him. Obviously, he's not going to even think twice about, the wife killing or anything like that. Yeah. So he's just not going to think that, like, they're going to purposely put, like, a flaw in it or purposely put something in it. It's a perfect plot device.
And Vader warned him. Because he's force-choked him. He's like, be careful not to choke on your ambition. And
that's so true, yeah.
And it's like a foreshadowing. You know what I mean?
Oh, so good. Yeah,
like don't come here to grovel.
Yeah.
Don't demand to speak with the Emperor. Like, you're not talking to the Emperor, man. Because and it's kind of like, you know, are you with the cause or are you not?
Yeah.
Right?
But
You're here for yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know?
and don't
Like,
go...
we don't care, we can replace you. Right?
Exactly, and it's like, listen, and it's like, he starts walking away, he's like, so am I in charge? And it's
Yeah.
He's like, listen, you're in charge.
Yeah.
You in charge?
But it's that whole thing is like, yeah, it's the corporate ladder. Don't go over your manager's head.
Yeah, don't
you know
rise
what I mean?
above
Like
your station.
don't rise above your station.
Yeah.
And they totally played that so well.
Yeah.
And you know, don't trust anyone on the dark side. Like, there's no loyalty at all. Which all closes the loop on it because it was so great that he dies by the same death rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He's just there.
It was like a perfect hit too.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
because on Jedi the city it was like boom, but this one was like right at the top of the just caught him. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that
but
was great.
you were talking about like don't trust anybody from the dark side, but in this movie. You couldn't even trust the rebels. Couldn't even trust each other.
No.
Because everybody had a separate mission.
That's a good
You know
point.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's like you had Caspian. Is
Yeah,
his name?
yeah.
Yeah, he had a mission to first he was supposed to kill
Galen Erso.
Yeah. and then
Yeah, the levels of gray are just, like all that mattered was like the mission.
Yeah.
Not loyalty to anybody, at least from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like, and they only brought Jyn Erso in not to really help save her father.
yeah.
No.
To have a way to weasel their way in so they could kill the guy.
And even before
so-
Ursula, he
Yeah.
was supposed to kill what's his name?
Saw Gerrera?
Yeah,
Saul Guerrera, yeah.
Did they want to kill Saw Gerrera?
Yeah, he's
Did they?
like because remember he stopped him. His superior stopped him. He's like, yeah, this isn't a rescue mission. You see him, you kill him.
I thought he was talking about Galen Erso.
No,
He was talking about
Yeah,
Saw.
either way, it's just it is though. But like, there is so much of that. Like, it's that aspect, or it's that time of the rebels where they're so they're not an entity.
Yeah.
They're not an entity, and they're not cohesive whatsoever. So now you've got them, and literally, like, you can see the power struggle between somebody trying to come up and be the leader of the rebels. Everybody knows there's something wrong. Everybody knows that the Emperor and the Empire is wrong and bad. But everybody has their 2 cents on how to deal with it.
Yeah.
because even
And everybody's trying to rise to that.
because even you can see in the when they were having the generals and they were all together, it was more like they were just coming together because they didn't agree. They didn't all agree. It was like Game of Thrones, like last season, where it's like, you know, Jon Snow's trying to build this. Yeah, Jon Snow's trying to build this like this army, and he has to make peace with this person and try and get these people together, and that's how it was. It's like, oh, you want to go? Okay, we're not taking my fleet.
Yeah.
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 And other people are like, it's, you know, we can't, we might as well try to get peace. How can we fight them with this weapon?
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Right?
Like-
me and my planets were out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're not going to win this. I'm not taking them to the slaughter. And then other people are say like, no, we're fighting.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
But the Mon Calamari, man, the Mon Calamari have the biggest balls.
Yeah,
man,
They are
those
not
motherfuckers
backing
don't
off
fuck-
from a fight.
They don't give
do
a
it all.
shit. They just go right
Yeah.
into it. They don't care if it's a trap.
Yeah, all that stuff was cool, man. It's just so reminiscent of just actual warfare. You know,
Yeah.
like there's dirty things that are done, no matter on what side you're on.
And what I really liked about Rogue One in general is like, obviously a lot of us saw Star Wars as kids.
Yeah.
Right? You know, like we all saw it and we were young, and all the original, especially the original trilogy, it's a very kid-friendly trilogy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can see it at any age and still get a lot out of it. Now, this was definitely, I wouldn't call it darker, but much more adult. You know what I mean? So it's like this film, Rogue One, was kind of it's a prequel, but it's also like a real like a gift for people who grew up with it and now have more sensibility and want a little more in-depth storytelling to Star Wars, and they want like a more of an adult treatment.
Yeah.
So I really got a lot out of it. That way is like, you know what, I felt like that they treated me with respect as an adult. Like, you know what, here's a storyline, you grew up with this, here's the same characters and or the same world, and we're gonna show you how in-depth this world is and how much of a story we can give you in this world.
Yeah, take the action seriously. Take the just the action choreography a little bit more seriously. give you some Easter eggs back to expanded universe.
Yeah, blue milk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, blue milk. But even deeper than that, just actually mentioning kyber crystals.
Yes.
And that kyber crystals are used from to power the Death Star.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen's character being the Guardian of the Wills.
Yes, which was the original name of of his first script.
Yeah, Luke Starkiller and whatever of the Wills, right? Just building on the old mythology about that, which is a little thread that could lead to somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
Just really cool stuff like that.
And the way they respected and they introduced religion and like the dissecting of the rebels and all that, and how there's Force users outside of the Jedi. Like you can see like the Jedi have fallen for the most part, and now that there's like people kind of picking up the mantle, and there's still belief in the Force.
Yeah.
So it's not just like you didn't have to be like a monk, like a Jedi monk, to get something out of the Force. You could be like a regular person. And
it's almost like having an X gene. You know what I mean? It's like you're a regular human, and you believe in this, but like even better than that, it's like Avatar, like the Last Airbender. It's like some people, you could be from the Earth Nation, but that doesn't exactly mean you could Earthbend. You know what I mean? And it's like no matter how much training you could train, but sometimes you just don't have that gift.
But, you're not
are you
going
to quit? Yeah, exactly. Are you going to quit, or are you going to just believe in the?
Well, which is cool because Maz Kanata is kind of like that, where she's not a Jedi, but she's in tune with the Force somehow. Donnie Yen is obviously having a little bit of an ability. Right, just be able to beat up 7 stormtroopers with a stick,
and being blind while doing it.
Blind while doing it. So there's some Force out, but he's not a Jedi. Right?
But see, that's a really good thing. And the Diane character, one thing we didn't see in the trailers was the fact that he was praying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's like that's what I mean about this being much more adult than the other ones. Like he's praying to the Force, where there's no right or wrong way. Like everybody's kind of like grasping the Force in some way, but they don't have like a lineage. They don't have like a patriarchy or a matriarchy or anybody to show them how to do it. They're just kind of grabbing little tidbits here and there of what they can find, and putting it together on their own.
Yeah, that was very cool. It's not without its flaws, though. I mean, there were some lame moment, like when when they're in that council meeting, and then she's talking about my father Gillen Urso gave a message, and he's built a flaw in the plans for us. But there's stuff like in the back, like it almost felt like a Family Guy scene. It's like, what is the girl saying? What is she proposing? It was so weird. I was like, all right, sure, whatever.
That was a Blue Harvest homage right there.
That thing threw me off. But again, it's a nitpick. Is there anything that you just really didn't like, or
Mario? Do you have anything?
Yeah, well, we had talked about it before. One thing, for two reasons, but one thing that kind of set me off of this and made it not Star Wars for me for a second was the lack of a crawl. And we both talked about this, and nowhere else, like, there's a huge gap between Episode 3 and the events of Rogue One. If ever, like, we needed that crawl, this was the time.
But you know what? If you watch Rebels, that's the crawl.
Which is fine, but which is still in the universe. But some people don't. But see, in respect to the cinematic audience, not everybody's going to watch the extended, and you still have to have the cinematic films have to be cohesive.
But you kind of have to, because it's part of the canon, right? And because Rebels is building the rebellion from scratch. So it's like, you see them go on missions where Empire is getting rid of these old Y-wings, and they steal them, and that's how they get their bombers. And you see all this, and like even Clone Wars, you see
Saw Gerrera.
Saw Gerrera. And you see how extreme he can be. You know what I mean? So it's like if you're going to embrace the whole Star Wars universe, you have to watch it.
Well, but that's us. That's but what I'm talking about the general movie going audience, which this is still has to be a cohesive storyline to. I think needed that crawl.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Just as a general, and even though like I'm not up to date on either Rebels and I'm just catching up on the original. What's the original
Clone Wars?
On Clone Wars now? So there's definitely some gaps there that I'm missing here, and it would have been nice to just have like just a synopsis, and I thought that would have been the proper time for it.
I just kind of missed not having the after the Lucasfilm title screen, and then
a long time ago,
Galaxy Far, Far Away, and then BAM! Right?
Yeah.
I kind of missed that because I was ready for it, and I'm like, oh wait,
this is
But you know what it is? This is an untold story of the Victoria's dead. This is a story within its own where it's like it hasn't even begun. Like I said, this movie is kind of like a prologue to like the original. Mm-hmm. So it's like they can't even really tell you a story because you were almost never supposed to see the story of how you know. So that's why
I get it.
Mm-hmm. Everybody on this poster is going to die.
Yeah, but we did a trailer reaction, and we knew right off the bat. None of these guys are gonna make it.
Mario said it right. Yeah, Mario said it best when we walked in. He's like, "You realize we're sitting down to like watch Titanic, right?"
Yeah.
And then I was like, "You don't know, man. We don't really know. Some guys could make it out. You don't know."
No, they're all done.
Yeah.
Okay, so how? If anything, that this movie did too was just point out flaws in The Force Awakens.
Okay.
Because honestly, I felt more for K2SO's death than I did the death of Han Solo.
Yeah.
You know, like the Han Solo death crushed me, but I knew Han was going to die as soon as he walked out on that bridge. I was like, he's dead, right? Whereas K2SO's getting shot, and I'm like, no, he'll shoot these guys. He's just taking damage, like whatever else. But like, when he's like, I'm locking the door, goodbye. It's like, oh man, like they played it up just so much better and going out like a hero.
Yeah.
Whereas Han Solo doesn't quite have the same thing. I mean, obviously he tries to reach out to his son, whatever. I don't know. It just definitely showed how lacking again the Han Solo death to me was in Force Awakens.
Like I played the new Call of Duty, and the new Call of Duty is like that. Infinite Warfare, because it's like it's off in the future and you're flying in space and whatever, right? But you have like this AI in your unit, and he has a personality. He talks like, but you're like, as soon as you watch it, like you start listening to him, it's like, okay, this guy's gonna die. And I kind of felt it, but not as much. Like you had like it's probably like a 4 or 5 hour story mode, and I felt it more in Star Wars in 2.5 hours than as
Infinite Warfare.
It's funny because like they really did. That character was just very endearing. Like they're like he kind of comes across as like kind of like a snub know-it-all with like no social etiquette at first. So you're like, right away you're kind of you find him brash. So at the first it's like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? And he's like he's a brash character. He's just and
he chokeslams Jinner. So
he chokeslams Jinner.
You are being rescued.
Congratulations.
But it's like but I almost got like an aspect of like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's just like this kind of big, like this kind of like almost Neanderthal-esque type character, but he's just so endearing. Or Hodor or any of those characters who like he's got endearment to him, and I don't know what, I can't pinpoint exactly what it is, but somehow there's some device in there that has made me care about this character.
Yeah, he stole the show.
I like
K2SO stole the show for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
She kills when they're fighting in the streets of Jeddah, and then she shoots one of the Imperial droids. It drops, and then he comes around the corner.
It's like, did you know that was?
you know that wasn't me?
That's so well done.
And like when they're another one that killed me too is in the when they're hoping that they finally they're on their suicide mission, the final run. They need to get through the gate in order to be able to steal the plans and everything. And then they're like, yeah, if we don't get through, we'll be stuck floating in space. And he goes, well, not me. I can survive in space.
I'm good.
It was just so
thanks, bro.
It's like I'm good. I'm good. Don't worry about me.
It was so good. If there's anything that I can, these are obviously nitpicks, right? Yeah. Kind of a cliche moment when Jyn Erso has finally uploaded the plans through, but it hasn't gone through the gate yet. And then I knew Caspian was gonna, like, even though he fell, I knew he wasn't dead. I was like, okay, we'll wait for this guy to come back and save the day in the last second. And Krennic meets her on the tower and then is about to shoot her, and I'm just like, yeah, just shoot her, man. Just shoot her. And then she is explaining to him. You know the villain always explains the plot? She's explaining to him, like, I've uploaded the plans, my father built it, whatever. Like, what? What the fuck's, like, why don't you just shoot her? Right? And then, of course, he gets shot in the back. Like, that I saw coming from far off.
So uncivilized.
He thought he was gonna make it out. So he wanted to hear what they did so he can... Right?
It was just really cliche in a movie that kind of broke all the rules of a Star Wars movie, so I was kind of hoping for a little bit more. What would have really been great, and we'll get to my favorite, probably everyone's favorite part, like the Vader scene, whatever. What would have been really cool is if Vader was involved in that finale somehow. And I didn't want it to be a Darth Vader movie, nor should it. But I think it would have been cool if he would have been involved somehow in that finale and got foiled somehow. Because then, okay, he had it within his grasp at that point, couldn't get it. Then goes out, boards a ship, and then has the amazing scene when he comes out and gets close again, right? So like foiled kind of twice as opposed to just foiled once. It would have been cool to rope him in and all that.
Yeah, because he didn't have a chance in that second one. Like, it was just, it was too late by that time.
It just would have been cool if he landed there to take it up. But I love the ruthlessness of Tarkin with be like, yeah, we'll blow up all the plans. Krennic's down there? Good. Blow the city up. I didn't expect, like, I knew I had read that they were doing a CGI Tarkin. But I didn't expect him. He's in this movie more than he is in
episode 4.
Yeah, and he's been dead for 40 years.
It is amazing. The motion capture, and like, I know we have talked about this, all three of us, is like, where does this put like the characters? Like, where now, like, you had in this, you had Grand Moff Tarkin, who has been again dead for 30 plus years. You have a 19-year-old Carrie Fisher in this film. You know, like, what does that say for like stardom? Where like is like the character, or like this person's face is now, you can have like you can do a movie in 2016 with, you know, like with dead people who are now, they're still starring in a movie.
I feel
like it's unbelievable.
I feel like this is an episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah, it totally could be like an episode of Black Mirror.
You know where all this leads, man? This is where this all leads. Because if you're Disney or even Warner Brothers and you own these really great IP and these characters, whether it's comic books or whatever, you're going to hit a point where you really only need a voice actor.
Yeah.
Because why should I go and pay a Robert Downey Jr. who can only play the character maximum, or like Hugh Jackman, right?
Yeah.
No one can play a character longer than what Hugh Jackman just did.
Yeah.
Okay? What if you could just, like, in an animated series, or like The Simpsons is the best example of it, when they're animated, they don't grow older.
Yeah.
So as long as you have the voice actor to play them, and who knows how long it'll take for them to perfect it, but it's going to get to the point where you're not going to actually need a human being and an actual human being's likeness to be the character. So
they're just going to build them by scratch.
Exactly. So like when Chris Evans can't play Captain America anymore, they will give you a CGI Captain America who's not a real human. and that is how they will always look.
Yep.
And they'll give, and some lucky actor will be the voice for 20 years.
And play or
years.
use somebody's likeness. They'll pay you contractually for your likeness.
Yeah, for your likeness.
And then
or it might not, or it might just be like a completely, you know, third party likeness, like an Alex Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they can have an Alex Ross
yeah.
Superman, and that's it.
It's already happening with video games, right? Like they never needed anybody to be Nathan Drake, or to be Sam Fisher, or to be Master Chief, right? They just it's a
composite.
It's a totally animated character. There's no actual person. You can make them forever.
Wow.
Right? That movies, that's where it's happening. And it's already kind of happening with Marvel too, because Spider-Man plays a really great role in Civil War, but so much of that was not the actual actor.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just he's all CGI. So much of Black Panther fighting was just So they're getting closer to where the actual you don't kind of need the performance really, right?
But I think there'll always be directors and whatnot that are gonna be like, I need the classic. I need actors.
Oh, of course.
And that's true. Eventually,
there's
gonna be a really big boom of it, and then.
Yeah. But it's just I think more of like it's like, but those are like one-off films and things like that. But like the franchises, I think, are now changed forever.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Where now a franchise, like you can make a little nuanced film within the time frame of, you know, New Hope or Rogue One. 15 years down the road and still have Grand Moff Tarkin in it. Yeah. You can still have all these same characters in it, and they'll look exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what's wild. Is like you can never, like, if I come off with a one-off story like that would fit very well in between, you know, Empire and Jedi, I can now write it and still have, you know, like a 21-year-old Mark Hamill. Play in that role and be perfect.
Like, I really hope they add
Thrawn?
Yeah. Grand Admiral Thrawn. If they add him, they should just make him entirely CG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because why and just do the voice of the
same voice.
Yeah.
It's they're getting it right. A little while, like, you think back to like the movie that I can think about it the most was Matrix Reloaded, where they first did full CG.
Oh, it was all the Smiths. Yeah.
And there it was kind of jarring because you could see the rubberiness, whatever.
Yeah.
But they're definitely
especially in the actions, especially in any motion scene. It wasn't so bad when they were like standing very stoically and speaking back and forth. Like they got that, but as soon as it got into any type of action and movement, that's where it kind of fell apart and it became very cartoony.
But then Tron.
Say took the step up.
Yeah, that's when it took the step up, and then this just like
another one. Yeah, because it wasn't just like, oh, here's my face. Oh look, it was like, and that's what I thought was gonna happen. No, it was like full scene, full dramatic scene, and then another one after.
Feel like add DJ Khaled here.
Yeah,
another one.
But it was such a genius thing to do. Because he needed to be in there.
Oh yeah,
specifically
in retrospect,
specifically with how close it ends to, like, it literally ends minutes before episode 4 starts.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was gonna be that tight. Oh, I thought it would be, you know, they have them, they made it out, or maybe they died and someone else brought them in and then they get them going. But it is minutes.
And it also really changes the gravitas of episode 4.
Yeah.
Because now you have where before, like, you don't know, like, the first time you watch episode 4, you know, they talk about this Death Star, they talk about this stuff, but and nobody knows what it's got. And it's like the first time you see its power is when it destroys Alderaan.
Yeah.
But now it's already destroyed how many planets? By the time we start episode 4.
No planets. Cities.
No. Or cities. It's destroyed city. It's already shown some of its like power.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now, so you get that, and then boom, it goes right into, now it destroys Alderaan.
Yeah.
And now it just like that's like a punctuation point on the power.
And like, even when they go
power of
full
this
battery, because they always went like oh, just use one battery on this one.
Yeah, I love
and
that.
it'll blow it. So now, like when they say that now, you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be.
Yeah.
And again, I really love Force Awakens, but the Death Star, especially after this movie, seems like so much more of a badass weapon than Starkiller Base.
Yeah.
Even though Starkiller Base is insane.
Yeah.
Right? Like the thing destroyed an entire solar system of planets. But just the way it was kind of structured and the scale of how you saw it, the build up to it, and the fact that they only used a smaller, and we've spent more time with the Death Star. Like, I do get it, but for some reason it just feels to me like a much more frightening weapon than Starkiller Base was. Right?
Actually, if you really thought about it, who would win in a fight? Death Star would win hands down, because the Starkiller Base had to draw energy from the sun.
Yeah.
That took several minutes. Yeah. They're basically like,
come out of
warp. Because it's based on the kyber crystals, right? So it's like you're right though. It's like the power's like from within it.
Yeah.
It's not pulling power from outside of it. You're absolutely
like I never really understood how they would reload the Starkiller Base.
They'd have to draw energy from the sun.
Yeah, they have to get
and it's a process.
Yeah. But once they drew it all out, the sun was now a dead star.
So they have to go to another one.
Yeah.
They have to move to another.
but it's a planet. It doesn't have a method of propulsion, or did they build that into it?
I'm assuming they had to build it.
Well, see, these are the type of things that when you said treating us like adults, really pays off, right? For stuff like that, where it's like, well, that's just kind of a convenient thing. But there was far less of that in Rogue One, right? And I hope they continue. And I admit the fact that, look, that these saga movies have to play more to a younger audience. I totally get it.
Well, they have to be all-encompassing.
They can't turn their back on it.
Yeah, they can't turn their back on it, because without having a younger audience, there's no future of the franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to keep that.
I totally get it. I think we can get the best of both worlds, where give us more of these every other year that aren't with the saga films.
Well, you get these as films. So, like, again, like, the Lucasfilm now is being very, very strategic, because you've got, like, these television shows, and especially animated television shows, which can definitely apply to, like, we can watch them, but again, they're mainly for a younger audience. So you've got that younger audience, you're capturing them and you're keeping them entertained with those. Just the same way that you and I, or all three of us, grew up with droids and Ewoks. You know what I mean? Like on weekends and stuff like that. It kept us
super Star Wars.
You know, but it kept us very. It kept us within the Star Wars universe, even while we're waiting for more stuff to come out. And there was a huge gap there. Yeah, there was an absolutely huge gap. But we were still kept into the Star Wars universe. Now they're keeping like the younger generation in with those, and now you get these one-offs where you're also entertaining and playing towards the adult. I think that's the best combination.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Is there an ideal spin-off movie you'd want to see?
Yeah, I mean, I'd really like to see the same director tackle like a Jedi, like even a Old Republic.
Yes.
Good call.
That was mine.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was mine. Especially when you look at the Old Republic video games, and just watch those cutscenes if you haven't seen them. But you know, what is it, like 300 years after the Jedi Civil War or something like that, and they have space armor, but that looks like ancient medieval armor, but futuristic. So cool. Like make a Game of Thrones inspired Star Wars movie where it's the Sith actually have an empire. They're not in hiding.
Before the rule of two.
Yeah.
Before the rule of two.
Full Sith empire. Or even there's periods, and who knows what they'll take from the extended universe number, but there's that period where the Mandalorians are like the Spartans of the galaxy.
The Black Saber, they mention it, like there's like a thing where, like the whole Black Saber thing where the Mandalorians steal that Black Saber Kyber and have that power away from the Jedi.
Which is in Rebels. You guys gotta watch Rebels, man. You guys would love it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely gonna be, and more so, it's like they've already kind of touched base with like that. I thought it looked absolutely amazing was the sand drifted huge statue of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I thought that like sent chills out my spine. Like it was amazing. So yeah, like an Old Republic.
Yeah, let's bring that. Easily.
Yeah, that's the next.
Just have these two different timelines.
Yeah. Or a Rogue One sequel between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. That would be
Why not? I mean, I'll watch something with both of those or something. Yeah, and you know what? You could. Oh no, you couldn't. Well, I guess you kind of could, because Boba Fett's alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's to say they didn't hire some bounty hunters to help them steal it? I don't know. Well, that might not actually work.
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
Because he's with Jabba the Hutt between Empire and things, so he can't do that.
But remember, Jabba's just he's just a goon for hire. Remember, like, he's not dark, he's not Empire, he's not anything. He's just...
Yeah, he's just out for himself. Yeah.
He's out for himself. He's out for the highest bidder.
Gotcha, yeah.
So you can easily, like, pay him to do something
Yeah.
on either side. Like, if the Rebels have the right... And you can totally set up, like, a double cross movie that way, where, you know, like, somebody pays him, and then somebody pays him more, and then... Where does his loyalty lie and things of that
I would
nature.
like to, or even Luke Skywalker trying to rebuild the Jedi Order and everything that happened.
In between Jedi and Force Awakens,
Or emo, what's his face?
Kylo Ren.
Oh my gosh, that guy's such a...
The Knights of Ren.
Like, not the actor, but that character is such a bitch.
Yeah.
Like emo, like...
It works, though.
But that's... it does. It works within that world.
The wannabe Sith, right?
Yeah.
He wishes he had damage where he actually had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
You know? So he's faking it, right? It's all fake.
Yeah. And does that change now that he's got a scar going into episode 8?
Yeah, which is cool. Yeah, hopefully they'll do something cool with that. Yeah. All right, we saved the best for last.
Okay, let's do it.
We knew Vader was going to be in this, and I had a fear of not utilize. I had two fears. One, that they wouldn't use him enough, and you'd only get like a little bullshit cameo. And then I also had a fear that they would use him, but overuse him and make it so preposterous.
Yeah.
That he's doing moves. That don't even make sense. Yeah. Like they wouldn't even take into account how he fights against Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Like, okay, he can't do that.
Yeah,
right? Like, he's not fighting like Anakin was.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there has to be some kind of... And honestly, his scene, everything they did, I loved. Other than the thing I mentioned before that I wish he got into the fight earlier.
Yeah, but that's a timing issue.
The scene with Krennic, great. Right?
Yes.
Or him just putting him in his place. Like, don't come here and fucking ask for shit.
Yeah.
Right? Get back to doing your job. Right?
Go get the shine box.
No one, Go home and get your fucking shot.
Great call.
Kids, go watch Goodfellas. Do yourself a favor.
Oh, my Lord.
Watch Goodfellas. But that was a total go home and get your shine box moment. And then the throwaway line of Tarkin being like, okay, well, let's navigate the Death Star to planet, wherever they have the archives, right? And they're like, what about the Rebel fleet? Like, Vader will take care of them. And it doesn't pay off until like 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
When after you think everything's kind of sealed and done, right? Like the Jyn Erso and Caspian are just doing like the Watchman hug.
Yeah.
Right? As the tidal wave of death comes and kills them. And you think it's just done, right? You're thinking, oh, look, the plans are uploaded, they're good, they're ready to go. And then he boards. He boards the ship.
God.
And then it's like, all right, well, okay, I was like, how much are they going to show?
Yeah.
And it just kept getting better and better and better. Like, he didn't move unrealistically.
Yeah.
No.
It was these guys, and which makes total sense, because they would have heard about Vader. They would have heard about this, undestructible monster, and how the hell we fight. And it showed, like, these guys were fighting a god.
And their
they
fear.
could not.
The fear. It was like, literally, like, like, he's at the glass, and it was just like, speaking of Watchmen, it was like the episode where, like, the thing's gonna, like, the energy's gonna go, and he knows he's stuck in there, and he's looking through the glass, and he's like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you see in his face.
Even, like
I have no survival.
That scene reminded me of 300. You know when they all had the shields and they're marching them off the cliffs, and it's just like,
Yeah, you're
no, take this!
Yeah.
Take this, go, run!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they had no other way.
Nothing to do.
Yeah. It was done perfectly. Totally plausible because he's not doing spinning kicks or anything. He's just boom, leave you up there. I'm going to cut you in half, and I'm going to go behind and cut you that were up in half. Blocking every single shot. Just like how Anakin and we could see how talented the Jedi were against the droids, like blocking laser shots. Because he really only did that a few times, like when he blocks it with Han. When they set him up in Bespin and he blocks it a little bit. But everything about it was just perfect, and he was just an absolute destroyer. And you could, and that's, he's never been more badass than at that point.
And it wasn't
everything perfect.
And it wasn't, and you're right. Like, he had, even though you could, they kept within his physical limitations. His force limitations there was none. Like, he was like exponentially stronger in the force. And that made up for his lack of mobility in the body. So I thought that was so well done.
My one little critique, what would have been awesome when they're like, eject the ship, and it started going. If Darth was like, and they had to go higher power on the engines, that would have been awesome. Yeah, it's just that would have been awesome.
That would have been cool. Rather than him just standing on the dock. Which would have worked so well, right? Because I think, like I said before, get him in earlier on the planet. I'm sorry, I forget the planet where the archives are. But he's foiled. For whatever reason, he gets close, he's foiled. And he could even be foiled because of maybe the Death Star ray coming. He's like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. Right? Foiled number one. Now he's in that hallway where it's just right there, and that dude fucking has it. Foiled again. Holds the ship. Foiled again. And then that makes sense of when he goes and finally gets on the ship, and he's like, tear the ship apart until you found those plans. Like, he's just fucking
you are part of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor.
Because he's like, you know, like he's like
furious.
He's so pissed. It's like, what a terrible half an hour at work. We just built this thing.
I know. Emperor's gonna be pissed.
Like, it was right there 3 times. Are you kidding me? It just makes so much sense. And it was so good. But like, you literally just want to put episode 4 on.
Right away. Like, as soon as you
that's exactly what's gonna happen. As soon as this movie comes out, I'm just gonna watch.
They're now one and the same. Like, this might as well be episode
3.5 or whatever you want to call it.
Even like 3.9. Or like episode 4A. Kind of the other one's 4.
It's so you're absolutely right. Like, it's so cohesive. Like, it's now a 4-hour movie. You know what I mean? No, it's completely like, boom, you watch the whole thing and it's like, oh yeah, this is great.
Fuck. Man. Awesome. We gotta see it again. I've seen it once.
We've seen it once. Like, guys, this has been like one of the most fun, like, post-movie like synopsis we've done, and like, I'm still like I said, I want to watch this movie again. I've got all that love and energy that I had for Star Wars originally. I've got for this movie. So great job.
And with like episode 7, right? I watched it and I'm like, this is amazing, blah 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 blah. But like, I still to this day have not watched another full. No, I watched it. I lie. I watched it a second time, but like, I can't. I really want to rewatch, and see what I've missed.
I'm sure, because I'm sure there's a ton. Because you haven't spent a lot of time with these characters. It's just the first time, and that's all you have. There's just so much good original stuff. And I tell you what really has to up the ante now is not the Young Han Solo movie spinoff, but it's episode 8. Because episode 7, obviously there's a lot of pressure on all these movies. Right? Like, they have to do well, and you'll never be able to make a perfect one. But episode 7, looking back on it, you know, they were like, okay, we really have to do a lot of what's worked before, right? And we were all cool with that because we're like, oh, this is great. They nailed the new generation of characters because everyone cares about Finn, Rey, BB-8. Who's the fucking Poe Dameron, right? Like, you definitely care about them. Kylo Ren is a really intriguing villain, so they nailed the new characters going forward and seeing their story, which is awesome. Really intrigued in what happened in the past, whatever. But you have to improve the space battles because this movie has the best space battles of probably maybe all of them.
Yeah.
And just the way they're coordinated.
Just the little things of like, like
the scale of how everything was.
Scale was perfect, and like just like little things. It's like and it's such a little point, but at the end where they jump into hyperspace, but then the Star Destroyer comes in and it rams into this.
Yeah.
I was like, "You're kidding me!"
Like, fuck.
How many times did you think, oh yeah, jumping into hyper, like they always warn it in the earlier ones, like don't just jump into hyperspace, you might hit something.
Yeah.
And here they show you why.
Yeah. And if I was Admiral Relish, as soon as I think that was his name, but
the other Mon Calamari.
Yeah. As soon as I got the plans, fuck these guys, I'm gone.
Yeah.
When he said, "May the force be with you," hyperspace gone. I didn't even know why he was wasting time.
Yeah.
Like,
may the force be with you.
Yeah. See you guys.
We're out of here. Yeah. But that was cool too. This whole movie changes. When I read that opening crawl in episode 4, it changes so much for me now.
Yeah.
Because in that opening crawl is a band of rebels have stolen plans, and the rebels have just gotten their first victory.
Yeah.
Yes.
We saw what that victory actually was, right? And this was probably the first time that they were ever like, fuck it, let's roll the fleet.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not even their entire fleet, because some of the leaders of the rebel lines went, but the rest are like, fuck it, let's go. Let's roll.
And now they're martyrs. And now it's they set the chain of events right
so
there.
Cool. So cool, yeah. And knowing that, a lot of them have led really hard lives. I mean, Jyn Erso from 6 years old.
Yeah.
A daughter of the guy that made, the atom bomb.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden is raised by like Fidel Castro.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or, an equivalent thereof.
Yeah, it's
right?
like, not even Fidel, but more
not Fidel, but like
almost like an Osama in a way.
Kinda, yeah.
It's much more of that, for that religion, right?
And it's like, it's almost like when it's so fitting that Caspian was Xerxes. Leonidas throws a spear and hits Xerxes in the face, and God can bleed. It's like the empire can bleed. Yeah. We can do this, and it's just there's so many levels.
Yeah, it all worked. Well, can't say enough good things. I'm looking forward to watching it again when it's in theaters. I'm sure if it comes out on 4K, I'll buy a 4K version of it. The stakes have been up, man. So ready for episode 8. The pressure's on for that crew.
Yeah.
And I think that what should be really applauded is that they took the audience as intelligent.
Yes.
They didn't have to dumb it down. No. They're like, the fans are strong enough. Fans like us and you guys will bring friends to the show that maybe not know, and we'll bring them up to speed. We're like, this is what happens, this is what's here. You'll tell your boyfriend or your girlfriend if they're not necessarily into it, or everyone like, we're smart enough, you can take these risks, you can go one-offs, you can even go deeper and expand this universe.
Even as a standalone, it's entertainment.
Yeah, totally.
It holds its own as its own single film.
Yeah.
So now this, if you've got a significant other or a friend that hasn't been introduced to Star Wars, you can introduce them with this movie, and it's still cohesive. And then you can still show them the episode 4, 5, and 6, and then 1, 2, and 3 thereafter, and
you're good,
and you're still good.
Yeah,
it doesn't change anything.
Yeah, because it's not as if you know the characters going
exactly.
in anyway. And you don't really need to know about where they're going after.
Exactly. So it works perfectly.
Can't say enough good things, guys. We loved it, obviously. Leave us your comments. We brought up a lot of questions here and there, so feel free to comment on either Easter eggs you found, cool tie-ins from the extended universe, what you thought of Rogue One. What other spin-offs do you want to see? We mentioned Old Republic. We mentioned a whole bunch of different options. What do you guys want to see? We're getting a Star Wars movie every year from now until fucking forever.
Exactly.
Right? We will never see the end of Star Wars.
No.
This is Force Unleashed. That would be a great movie.
Yeah. That would be cool too. Let us know.
Man.
Nerd out in the comments. Before we do that, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to get to 20,000. We have a long climb, but with all your help, we can get there. Share with your friends. You can follow us on Twitter at the Hero Lair, and come back and hang out with us soon. See ya.